Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a haul video for you. Now this is going to be a little bit of a different haul to the normal ones I do. I'm going to do kind of three different parts to the haul. The first one is going to be books that I've bought recently. The second part is going to be books I've been sent from publishers. And the third part is going to be a rehaul of books I've already got. And I'll tell you the reason why we're going to do that. Basically, as any book lover knows, we all have this desperate need to constantly buy more books and own more books and just have more books in our lives. And I kind of am running out of money to buy books, and I kind of realised that I have so many books I already own that I need to read the ones I already own before I start buying loads more. And I kind of realised that I've just got piles of books everywhere. There's a bookcase over there, there's a bookcase down there, there's like piles of books at the end of my bed, piles of books in boxes and things, and I've kind of forgotten what I own. So I thought I might kind of do a regular rehaul where I kind of find books in on my shelves or in boxes, or you know, stacked in piles I forgot I had, and then rehaul them, because then I've got books that I forgot I had that are kind of like new again because I've just rediscovered them. So I'm kind of excited to rehaul 5 books that I found. It's not going to take too long to do those. I'm just going to quickly show you them because I've probably maybe shown you them before, but I'm just really excited that I found those books again. So yeah, that's going to be the video for today. So the first part I'm going to do is books that I have bought recently. Now the other week I went to Brighton for the day with my partner, who is a keen photographer. He went off with his photography friends and they did some engagement shoots on the pier. And whilst he was doing that, I went off in search of the bookshops in Brighton. There were quite a lot I wanted to visit, but I only actually managed to find 2 out of all of the shops I wanted to go to. So unfortunately I didn't manage to get that many books, but I did pick up about 6 or 7. So I'm going to show you what I got. So I went to Waterstones first, surprise surprise. My little home is Waterstones. And the one in Brighton is huge. It's got 5 floors and there's just like a whole floor that's dedicated to kids books, which is like my dream. So I spent a lot of time in that Waterstones. I spent about 2 hours I think in total in there. So I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I bought 6 books in there. So I'm going to go through these. You may have already seen these if you follow my blog. I did do a blog post about them, but I thought I'd also haul them just in case you haven't seen that. So I'm going to start with the first book I got, which is Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. Now I have wanted to read this book forever, and I've seen it on kind of Amazon and YouTube and Twitter loads, and I never realised that it had come out in like an English paperback, because all of the time I've been trying to buy it, all I could find was an American paperback, which was quite expensive. So I was a bit gutted, and I was hoping that there would be some way I could afford to buy like a cheaper version. And luckily, because it's been turned into a film, I think it is a film or it's about to become a film, they've decided to release the English paperback version, which is a nice, neat sized paperback that will fit nicely on my shelves. So I decided to pick that one up. I love the cover. It's exactly the same as the cover to the previous one. And it kind of sounds a little bit like it's going to be John Green-esque, like The Fault in Our Stars. Kind of a girl who is dying and got cancer. So I think it's kind of like another one of those coming of age, realising who we are, dealing with illness and all those kinds of things that I kind of love in YA fiction, so I'm really excited about that one. So that is that one. The second book I picked up is also a young adult novel, although I'm not sure if it is young adult or 9 to 12. The Waterstones that I went into in Brighton, they had it in their teen section, but where I work we have it in our 9 to 12 section, so I'm not quite sure if it's middle grade or YA, or if it kind of bridges the gap between the two. But it is called Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume. Now obviously Judy Blume is a legend in books, and she recently released her first adult novel for about 16 years, so I was like, I need to go back and read all of her other books that she's written. I can't remember if I have read this book before. I'm sure I must have at some point, but I can't actually remember reading it. So I'm really excited to rediscover this, and I love the covers as well. They've recently kind of redone, oh can you see, redone the covers, because obviously she's got a new book coming out, so they wanted to kind of redo her back catalogue, and I love the new covers. So I might pick up a few more of them actually, but yeah, I really like the cover and it just sounds awesome. It's about a girl called Margaret, and she's desperate to grow up, and it's kind of like they haven't had their first kiss yet, they've got their periods and all that kind of stuff, but something happens and she doesn't want to tell her friends about it, and it's really hard to fit in and stuff like that. And I think it's kind of like it is a coming of age story and kind of working out where you belong and whether you can trust people and all that kind of stuff. So it's a nice kind of middle grade YA bridge up between the two kind of age groups. So I'm really excited about that one. The third book I picked up is a book that I have heard not a lot about before actually. The only reason I knew about it was because of Carrie Fletcher. She wrote a book called All I Know Now, which is like a self-help memoir kind of book for young people, and I just kind of flicked through it at work one day because I was kind of interested in her because she seems like quite an interesting character. And I was flicking through it, and in one of like the first couple of pages she talks about her favourite book, and this is her favourite book, and I'd never heard about it before, and I kind of googled it and I was like, I love the sound of this book, and it's called All My Friends Are Superheroes by Andrew Kaufman. And this is a really tiny book. It's really short. It's only like 100 pages long, so it's not going to take long to read at all. But the blurb says, all Tom's friends really are superheroes. Tom even married a superhero, the Perfectionist. But at their wedding, the Perfectionist is hypnotised by her ex, Hypno, to believe that Tom is invisible. Nothing he does can make her see him. 6 months later, the Perfectionist is sure that Tom has abandoned her, so she's moving to Vancouver. She'll use her superpower to leave all the heartbreak behind. With no idea that Tom's beside her, she boards the plane. Tom has until they touch down to convince her he's there, or he loses her forever. A wonderful and heartbreakingly funny tribute to love. So I love the sound of that, and like I say, it's only really short. It's only about 100 pages long, so it's going to be a really quick read, but it came highly recommended. So yeah, I'm really excited to read that one. The fourth book I picked up is a book that is one I've kind of read half of before. I didn't give up on it, I just kind of had to take it back to the library and just never really got around to finishing it. But I loved what I read of it when I had started reading it, so I thought I would buy a copy for myself. And it is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Now this is quite a tough read. It's about a woman who goes through kind of depression, and it's about a girl called Esther. Who's kind of at an age where she's kind of not quite sure what's going to happen next. She's kind of trying to get to the next stage in her life, but she's on like the edge of this darkness that makes her world increasingly unreal. In this vivid and unforgettable novel, Esther's vision of the world shimmers and shifts. Day-to-day New York living, her crazed men friends and hot dinner dances. So it's kind of like I'm trying to think of what kind of, if there's like a modern book I could compare it to. I'm not quite sure if there is actually, but it's kind of like, it was one of the first books that kind of really addressed mental health issues, I think. And yeah, what I read of it, it was just so affecting and so beautifully written, but so real at the same time. It's just beautiful. So if you've never read The Bell Jar, or you've never really heard about it, I really recommend you have a look and look into it. I know when I was at school, one of my friends did like an essay on it, and I think some schools study it, so it would be worth picking up and having a look if you've never heard of it before. So yeah, that's The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. And the last two books that I picked up in Waterstones were just two of the 80p Penguin Little Black Classics. I had already bought a couple of them from work, but I couldn't find, we kind of sold out of them at work, and I couldn't find anywhere else locally that sold them, so I was really happy when I popped into Brighton and they had two of the ones I wanted. And the first one is The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, which are short, horrifying tales of mystery, sickening madness and buried bodies by the master of macabre. So I'm excited about that one. And the other one was Jane Austen, The Beautiful Cassandra, which is Austen's riotous early stories of drunks, prisoners and prison breaks, written for her family's entertainment when she was a teenager. So it's kind of like short little stories, and I love these little black classics because I'm not amazingly good at reading classics. I'm kind of not, it's not that I'm not a fan of them, it's just that I find them quite hard to digest sometimes. So I love the idea of these little black classics because they introduce you to classic fiction and classic authors without it being too overwhelming, because they're really short, they're really cheap, they're only 80p each, and most of them are kind of collections of short stories. Some of them are collections of chapters from other pieces of their work, and some of them, like the poets, it's just collections of their poems. So it's definitely worth checking out if classics is something you find quite daunting, because I definitely find that these help me to get into kind of the world of classic and feel a little more comfortable inside it. So yeah, there are two of the books that I bought. And then after I went to Waterstones, I went to a bookshop called City Books in Brighton, which is a kind of independent bookshop. It took me ages to find it because it's quite a little way out of the main city centre. And I was kind of a little bit let down. I was expecting it to be this amazing bookshop that was really colourful and bright and airy and just gorgeous and full of beautiful books, but it was a little bit kind of dark and dingy, and I felt a little bit kind of disappointed. But I mean, I think that's because I've always wanted a bookshop and I've got this really vivid idea of what an independent bookshop in my head should look like, and it just kind of didn't match up to that. So I think maybe I'm just a bit too kind of stuck in my way of how I'd like a bookshop to be. But I did go in there and I bought 2 books. It was really hard to find books that I wanted to buy because there was just so many that I wanted, but they were all full price, and it's so hard to get into your head. It's like, but I could buy this online for like half price, and it's so hard because I really want to support independent bookshops, but at the same time they're just so expensive, and it's so hard because, you know, I don't want to see them close, but at the same time I don't want to have to, you know, I could get so much more in terms of books for my money if I shopped elsewhere, so it's a really hard kind of decision to make. But I decided to buy 2 books because I didn't want to leave it empty-handed. So the first thing I picked up was this tiny little essay by Julian Barnes called A Life with Books, and it's like a little essay written by Julian Barnes who looks back on his lifelong relationship with books, and he makes a powerful case for the primacy of the printed book. So it's only a short little essay, and it was only £1.99, so I thought you can't go wrong with a little cute essay for £1.99. And the second book I picked up is one that I have wanted to read for a while, and it had £2 off in the City Bookshop, which is quite good. So instead of being £7.99 it was only £5.99, which is a little bit more reasonable, and it's called The Storied Life of A.J. Fikri by Gabrielle Zevin, and it's basically about a man who owns a bookshop, and his bookshop is failing. He's lost his wife, and he had like this really rare first edition that's been stolen from him. But one day he finds a 2-year-old girl, Maya, sitting on the bookshop floor with a note attached to her asking the owner to look after her, and then his life and Maya's life are changed forever. So I love the sound of that, and because I work in a bookshop and because I'm a bookseller, I kind of love books that are set in bookshops. It just kind of makes me feel like I'm at home, so I'm really excited to read that one too. So they are all the books I bought in Brighton, so that's the first part of the haul done with. I'll be interested to hear if you've got any of those books, if you've read any of those books, and kind of what you think of them. And if you have got any kind of suggestions for classics that I could read that are quite good introductions into the world of classics, and I'd be really interested to hear, because I always want to kind of broaden my horizons and things. So yeah, let me know if you've read any of those. The second part of the haul now is going to be a really quick books I've got through the post recently from publishers. I know this video is already about 12 minutes long, so I'm going to hurry up and go through these quickly. So the first book I got through the post recently is a republished version of Frenchman's Creek by Daphne du Maurier. Now, I think I don't know if it's vintage or, oh gosh, no, it's Virago Press. They are reprinting I can't even say her name now, Daphne du Maurier's novels with different jackets to appeal to a young adult audience. What they're doing is they're reprinting them twice. They're doing a young adult dust jacket, and then, or dust jacket I mean cover, and then an adult cover, to try and bring her to a new audience. I don't know if you can see because they're super tiny, but they are the other 2 that they are doing. I don't know if that's in focus at all. So they're doing Rebecca and Jamaica in as well. And I got sent Frenchman's Creek, so I'm excited to read it. I've never read anything by Daphne du Maurier before. My friend Tanya, who hates books, she never reads. Okay, maybe hates is a bit of a strong word, but she's not as passionate about books as I am. She kind of doesn't really read. She read Rebecca and she loved it, and I was like, if Rebecca is a book that she can read and she can love, then I am going to just love it as well. So I really want to read Rebecca, but yeah, I'm excited to read Frenchman's Creek as well. So thank you to Virago for sending me that one. The second book I got sent in the post recently is from the lovely people at Little Brown, or Picketus, which is the imprint. It is called The Other Me by Saskia Sarginson, I think that's how you pronounce her name. And it's about Eliza Bennet has the life she's always dreamed of. She's who she wants to be, and she's with the man she wants to be with. But Eliza is living a lie. Her real name is Claudia, and Claudia is on the run. She's escaping her old life and a terrible secret buried at the heart of her family. This is the story of Eliza and Claudia, 1 woman, 2 lives, and a lie they cannot hide from. So that sounds pretty exciting, maybe a little bit like a psychological thriller, maybe, potentially a bit of a saga as well, so I'm quite excited about that one. This is published, I don't actually quite know when this one is due out. Tell you what, I think I got the press release down here. I was well prepared. 13th of August in paperback, so not too long to wait for that one. So I'm excited to read this one, so thank you to Little Brown for sending me that. And Little Brown in the same parcel also sent me this one called Redemption Road by Lisa Ballantyne. This is about a woman called Margaret Holloway who's trapped inside a car that's about to explode, and she's rescued by a scarred stranger who then disappears. Margaret remembers little, but she spent her life remembering... Margaret remembers little, but she spent her life remembering little. Her childhood is full of holes and forgotten memories. Now she has a burning desire to discover who she is and why her life has been shrouded in secrets. What really happened to her when she was a child? Could it have anything to do with the mysterious man who saved her life? So yeah, that sounds a little bit confusing, that blurb, but I think it's about a girl who is saved in a car crash, and then she's kind of going through her life and she's not quite sure who she is, where she comes from, and she doesn't really know much about her childhood, and then she kind of thinks about this crash that happened and wonders if the man who saved her has something to do with her life. So yeah, interesting. Probably not going to be top of my list, but one I will probably hopefully get around to this summer, and that one is published on the 16th of July, so that's really soon actually. So yeah, that's that one. The fourth book I was sent from a publisher I'm so excited about, and it's such a kind of like early proof, because the back is empty, the spine is empty, it's just got the cover on it, and it is The Lost and Found by Kat Clark. Now if you've never heard of Kat Clark before, then where have you been? Seriously, she is amazing. Last year, I think it was last year or the year before, she published a book called A Kiss in the Dark, which was an incredible YA novel that kind of just blew my mind. I was like, this is insanely good. So if you haven't read any of her work, I definitely suggest you check it out. This is her latest one, I think. Actually, I'm not quite sure when this one comes out. I think it might be September. I might be lying. But yeah, I don't know too much about this, apart from the tagline that says 13 years ago my sister was taken and now she's coming home. So excited about that one, really excited about that one. And then the last one, which I'm pretty much about to die of excitement with, is a book that I literally only just heard about it, but then I was offered a proof and I was like, yes please, I will do anything for proof of this book, and it arrived and I'm so excited, and it is Unbecoming by Jenny Downham. Now, Jenny Downham wrote Before I Die and You Against Me, and both of those books are two YA books that I just recommend to anybody, especially when they come in from YA recommendations in the shop that I work in as well. They're kind of saying, you know, what books are good, and Before I Die is a kind of book that I read when I was a teenager. That's kind of comparable to like The Fault in Our Stars, the teenagers of today. It was about a girl who is dying and she has this bucket list of things that she wants to do before she dies, and it's just such a beautiful story, and oh, it's just magical. So when I heard that she had written another one, I was so excited. And this one is called Unbecoming, and it's a book all women will read and a book all men should read. And it's an astonishing feat of storytelling, a life-affirming book about identity and desire and learning to honour your own stories. It's searingly honest and completely unputdownable. So I'm like, yes please, I cannot wait to read it. And I'm so happy as well and so excited because it's also a signed proof, which is just... I just can't believe that I have this in my hands. I'm just so excited. So I don't know if I'm going to be reading this soon, because I don't think it comes out until September. I don't have the... Do I have a bit of... no, it doesn't say when it's out. But I think I might read this over the summer when I've got a long summer day just to sit and devour it all in one go. So yeah, I'm so excited about this. Thank you so much to David Ficklin Books for sending that to me. I cannot wait to read that one. So yay for that. And now quickly I'm going to do the rehaul as well. If you have read any of the other books that I've just hauled, or any of the books are books that you're excited about, let me know in the comments below, and I will try and read the ones that you guys want to read as well, and I can review them on the blog and also on here as well. So let me know if there's any reviews that you want to see for those. And then finally it is the time for the rehaul, where I'm going to haul books that I already own that I refound and I cannot wait to read. So the first one, I forgot I had this, and I didn't realise I actually owned it until the second book in the series came out, and it's The Murder Bag by Tony Parsons, and the second book has just come out called, I want to say The Slaughter Man, but I don't think that's right. But yeah, anyway, the second book has come out and a lot of people have come into the shop and bought it, and they've been saying how fantastic the first book in the series was. And I was like, I recognise that cover, I've heard of that before. and I was thinking of buying it, and I came home and I found this and I was like, oh my god, I already own it. So I'm so excited. It's about a killer who's roaming London streets. He cuts the throats of London's rich and powerful, and he's good at it. No one knows who he is or how to stop him until now. He has just met his match. Enter DC Max Wolf, single parent, defender of the weak, and every murderer's worst nightmare. And I love a good murder mystery kind of thriller crimey one, so excited to read that one. And I'm excited I own it as well. I love that when you find a book that you didn't actually realise you owned. So that is that one. The second one, actually there's quite a theme to these. These are all kind of psychological thrillers, crimey ones that I've hauled. The second one is The Bed I Made by Lucy Whitehouse, which again I kind of forgot I had. This is a book called it's a book about Kate, who meets a dark, enigmatic Richard in a Soho bar. She barely hesitates before going home with him. He is undeniably attractive and dangerous. Now 18 exhilarating but fraught months later, Kate finishes their relationship and hopes that will be the end of it, but it is only the beginning. Fleeing London for the wintry Isle of Wight, she is determined to ignore the flood of calls and emails, but what begins as a nuisance becomes an ever more threatening game of cat and mouse. So I love the sound of that. And she also wrote Before We Met, which I think I have an e-book copy of. I don't think I have a paperback copy. Probably do have a paperback copy hidden somewhere. But yeah, so I'm excited to read that one. The third book is one that I actually started reading, and I got 35 pages into it and then put it down and have not picked it up since. And I want to go back to it because it won prizes and it's amazing, and people just constantly keep telling me I need to read it. And it is H is for Hawk by Helen Macdonald. It's out in paperback now, but I bought it in hardback because I just thought it was a gorgeous, gorgeous hardback. It's a non-fiction work it's a memoir about Helen Macdonald, who was determined to become a falconer. And her father dies, and I think then she starts to train this hawk as in memory and kind of stuff like that. And it's just a really affecting and touching memoir about her life with hawks. So yeah, I desperately want to get back to reading this one. And the 35 pages that I read, I remember loving them. So I'm really excited to continue, and I just think the cover is absolutely stunning. So that's that one. The fourth book is a book, again, that I started reading. How many pages? I got only 17 pages in, which is pretty unimpressive. And it's Hausfrau by Jill Alexander Esbaum, I think that's how you pronounce her name. The lovely people at, I think it's Pan Macmillan sent me a copy. And I really want to get around to finish reading it because it sounds amazing. It's about Anna, who is a good wife, mostly. She lives in comfortable and affluence. No, hang on. She lives in comfort and affluence with her husband and their 3 young children. Now my German pronunciation is appalling, so I'm just going to say a suburb of Zurich. Anna is an American expat who has chosen this life far from home, but despite its tranquility and order, inside she is falling apart. Feeling adrift and unable to connect with her husband or his family, with the fellow expatriates who try to befriend her or even increasingly her own thoughts and emotions, Anna attempts to assert her agency in the only way that makes sense to her, by engaging in short-lived but intense sexual affairs. But adultery too has its own morality, and when Anna finds herself crossing a line, she will set off a terrible chain of events, ending in unspeakable tragedy. As her life crashes down around her, Anna must discover where one must go when there is no going back. So that sounds fantastic, about a woman who moves to Germany to be with her husband, and they have a family, but then she kind of can't deal with her life as it is. She kind of misses America, I think, so she starts to have these intense sexual affairs, but then that kind of backfires, as it would do, and I think she then kind of doesn't really know what to do with her life. So yes, excited about that one. And then the final book, this is a very long video, I'm so sorry, but if you're still here, if you're still watching, then you are awesome, you are stuck with this, and I'm proud of you. And the final book, again, I started reading and I got to page 10, which again is just disgraceful, is The Liar's Chair by Rebecca Whitney, which came out earlier this year, and I was desperate to buy a copy. I got a copy and I didn't actually get around to reading it, which is always frustrating. But I think it's about a woman who kills someone in a hit and run, and she goes home and tells her husband, but they destroy all the evidence, but then she's racked with this guilt that she's killed somebody and she wants to tell someone. Yeah, I think it's kind of like, yeah, a stunning psychological portrait of a woman in a toxic marriage. Rebecca Whitney's debut will show that sometimes the darkest shadow holds the truth you've been hiding from. So yeah, about a woman who kills a man in a hit and run, and then she goes home and tells her husband, and they hide all the evidence, they kind of destroy everything that happened, but obviously the guilt starts eating away at her and it turns her a bit crazy, I think. So, and I love the spine as well, I just think it's so gorgeous. So yes, that is that one. So they are the books that I have owned that I kind of forgot I owned, and I'm so excited to get around to reading, as well as the books I've bought that I can't wait to read, and the books that I've got sent from publishers which I can't wait to read. And now I feel bad because I have just ordered some more books off the internet. This is what happens. I'm just addicted to buying books. Even though I have so many to read, I just cannot stop myself from buying them. I have a problem. I have a serious problem. I think maybe we should start a support group for people like me who just spend lots of money on books. I think our support group would be used by a lot of people. I know I'm not the only person who does this. So anyway, yes, there we are. There are 3 different hauls for you: a publisher haul, a books I've bought haul, and a books I've bought in the past but never actually read haul, which is kind of exciting. I'm excited about those. If you like the idea of the rehaul and the idea of me showing off books that I've already bought that I forgot I had, let me know and I might do some more in the future. So I'm going to go because my leg is literally falling asleep. Ow, and I can't move it, my foot's dead and I'm about to die. So I will see you all very soon with another video. Oh, and I know I said I was going to do my top 10 books of the year I've read so far. I'm really struggling to choose just 10. There are so many good books I've read, so I'm going to try and narrow it down even further. And if I do manage to narrow it down, then I'll make that video. If not, I will probably be waiting until the end of the year to just do a huge yearly wrap up for all the amazing books I've read this year. But for now I'm going because this video is very long, and I will see you very soon. Bye!